Welcome back, everybody, to a Bag of Tricks. This is a good old New World podcast, a podcast dedicated to New World stuff, news, events. My name is Baggins, otherwise known as Baggins TV, and I'm joined, as always, by the majestic Mr. Trick. How's it going, Trick? How you doing, bud?
Thank you so very much for that beautiful, beautiful introduction. Thank you so much, B. I am doing wonderful, doing great. How about yourself? Hello?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, man. I do want to quickly apologize to anybody who's listening to the podcast like not live. There's probably going to be a little bit of delay here. I think it's my internet. It's just been terrible lately, Trick. Are you in some sort of like tropical storm as well? Or
I
something
am.
Going on?
I
I heard
mean,
you saying there was like a storm or something.
I live in a tropical storm like all day. I'm like in South Florida next to the Everglades. So, yeah, I'm basically on top of a swamp.
All right, nice. So at any moment, either of us could just, like a natural disaster could take over. Mine's probably just gonna be like cows, swarming the house or something. But yeah.
So, yes, I did
Right.
notice
So to bring this back into,
the delay is
You
going to
good?
kill us. The delay is going to kill us.
yeah, the delay is gonna be wild. Here. We'll get through this though.
Yes,
Uh,
we will.
Season 2, friends. So it's been a while since we last recorded a time of recording. We are pretty much right at the end of the PTR right now. As things are currently planned, season 2 is supposed to release on the 6th of July, which is like 5 days from now. How you feeling, Trick, about season 2 coming out? Do you think, first of all, is it going to be the 6th, or are we going to get a delay? Because a lot of other stuff has been delayed. How you feeling? You think? What's your predictions, first and foremost?
Funny thing is, that's exactly how we started the stream today. We started the stream today talking about, okay, who here believes that it's gonna be delayed? Do you guys think that season 2 is gonna be the time where New World will break, the very long-lasting tradition of delaying every single major update they had? Or they just gonna keep it traditional and delay it. So obviously, most of my community thinks that it's going to be delayed because why wouldn't, right? Why wouldn't? Something must happen
Yeah.
during the final testing phase.
Yeah, New World, historically, for anybody who doesn't know, maybe people are coming in, like if you're new to New World, because I know we've had some new players recently. Every major update so far in New World, including the release of New World, has been delayed. So there is a precedent for it happening, but I don't know, fingers crossed, maybe this will be the change. To get a quick recap on stuff that's coming in with season 2, in case anybody doesn't know, because sometimes people get a little bit confused. A season is not like in Diablo where you get like a character level reset. It's basically just a big update. In this one, we've got raid groups coming in, so you're going to be able to group up with up to 20 players. That's 4 groups of 5. To support the raids, we've got the Sandworm boss raid, we've got the Hatchery trial raid. There's going to be the new Heart rune that you can get from the Sandworm. We got cross-server Outpost Rush, which is pretty big, and Outpost Rush tweaks. I don't know, we'll talk about that in a second, obviously. New season pass, new season quest. There's the new 3v3 arena map. We got better PvP reward track. I did write these down, by the way, because I couldn't remember all of them. First Light's being removed from the game. We're going to be able to search by perks in the inventory and storage shed, which is, I actually put that down because that's a big deal to me. And then we're going to get Transmog halfway through this season as well. And then some other side stuff. Summer Medley Fair is going to be coming back at some point as an event. And we also have the Siege of Sulfur event as well. Now, out of that list of things, is there anything in particular you're most excited for, Trick? Like, of all the season 2 changes, anything you're like, that's my big hype?
That's a lot of things, by the way. People think that season 2 is not going to be anything. That it's just season 2 is going to be season 3 a waiting room. But I think that season 2 brings some necessary things into the game that we've been asking and we've been needing, right? And we need to understand that New World is a game that is being evolving with every single expansion and every single patch that they're making. So whenever they make this season, cannot be just a season like full of content, because they're not there yet. They will get there, but they're not there yet. Like a lot of people don't even understand that season 1 was not meant for content. Season 1 was balancing, right? Whenever they get the balancing out of the way, then they can focus on the very next thing, and that's how they've been doing it with seasons. And so season content,
Yeah.
a lot of content, we're probably not gonna get into season 3. But the thing that I'm most excited about season 2, as of now, is I'm pretty sure everybody's pretty much in the same boat. Is transmog, because at least with the transmog we can now see all of these pieces of armors that are in the game. At least give you something to do, whenever you're not doing anything big, and it's content for both the people that have 5 minutes or the people that really want to go out there and collect all this transmog. Now, the transmog tokens, in the other hand, oof, how do you feel about those?
Yeah, so for full disclosure, I was always expecting that transmog would be a paid feature. Like I was under no illusion because one of the ways that they make money is skins. Transmog probably takes away from skins. We should clarify here, just in case anybody doesn't know. Transmog is basically the ability to take any weapon or armor in the game and use it as a skin. So you can cosmetically equip any piece of gear, which is pretty cool. There's some cool pieces of armor and weapons you can get out there that maybe don't have the best stats, but now you just wear them as a skin. Because Amazon, try and make some like their repeat revenue other than buying the game is skins. I always expected transmog to be monetized. The question is, how deep does it go, Trick? Like I think it's going to be that you get a token and then you can apply a token to one piece of gear in your inventory and that adds it as a skin. But if that's the case, dude, I've got a storage shed with like 100 items in there, so I'm going to need like 100 transmog tokens.
Yeah.
And if then like like $10 for like 5, like I'm gonna need to buy a lot of transmog tokens, dude. So maybe they have said though there might be a way to earn them in the game, right? Maybe. I don't know if they're actually going to go through with that, but
yeah, with the elite trains, which I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know how I feel about them. Like keep enforcing that elite train. It's a good aspect of the game. I don't think elite train it's good content. It's like the most repeatable thing that we have. But we honestly, I think the only reason why we do this elite train is just so we can get some free money. And it's probably the only human interaction that we have in the entire day playing New World, other than maybe if you queue for OPR. But going through this chest every single day with absolutely no challenge, and it's just a snooze fest. You could literally just do this looking at the other monitor, just walking with a herd, looting chests, and that is where they're putting these tokens, right? Instead of, I don't know, maybe putting it like in M10s or like wars, OPRs, something that actually is engaging to do for people to have fun, instead of putting it in the most mundane of activities. Because I don't do elite trains anymore. I feel like even though it's free money, that it's so boring to do. It's not even content for a streamer, and we have been doing that for so long now that for me at least it's not enticing to do. So if the two ways that we can acquire the tokens, it's either purchasing it on the store or doing the elite trains, some people are going to be a little upset about that. The other way to you can get them is through the season track. But once season 2 is over, I don't think it will go, to season 3, because in season 1 they gave us that extra gear set, which I was expecting an extra gear set on season 2 again, but they were like, no, that's it. That was only for season 1. If you want more, then you need to buy them. And now for season 2, they're probably gonna give us the transmog tokens, but then for season 3 they'll be like, yeah, no, that's it. That was only for season 2.
I think it would, like, in my opinion, if I was Amazon, I would either you put them in, if you do want to make them like available to get in the game, like through playing the game, put them in like Outpost Rush boxes or the PvP rewards track, put them in like the M10 boxes, maybe like as a crafting aptitude boxes as well, or just if you are going to put them in, don't just lock them into elite chest runs, because yeah, like you say, it's like it's okay content, but I think if you just exclusively put it there or the store, it's a shame. It's either you put it in various different pieces of content, or you just put it in the store.
The PvP track is a great idea.
I don't know how you feel about that trick, but
I think the PvP track, you just nailed that one. It's super good in OPR, in war chess, in invasion chess. You open an invasion chess and boom, you get a transmog token. You're like, oh, very nice. I can now get my invasion set transmog that I wanted. Because like you said, we have many different sets, right? You want your Angry Earth set to be different. I don't know, probably since they said that they will be removing wards in the future, we might only have to utilize like 1 or 2 sets for PvE. But we still have our PvE sets. We still have our several PvP sets, and yeah, we're definitely gonna need at least a good amount of, like dozen or 2 of tokens to get the skins that we want.
That's a pretty big bombshell, by the way. I know some people might be just their ears tweaked up there, like, what? Removing Ward? Removing Bane? Is another topic I guess we should cover, actually, is we got a video not so long ago. I think it was Monday. There was the, what do they call it? Forged in Eternum, where the devs sat down, and Dave told us that by the end of the year, Ward and Bane is going to be gone from the game. what if it's how it's being replaced exactly? They suggested that maybe potions, you drink like a ward potion, and that would just like be the buff basically, and coatings. What do you think about this trick? And also, I was kind of surprised that they didn't just consolidate Ward into like one overall perk because Resilient covers you for all forms of PvP, right? You can use it in War, 3v3 Arena, Outpost Rush, Open World, whereas you need all these different Ward sets. Do you think Resilient also needs to go as well?
Well,
How are you feeling about the Ward Bane announcement that it's going to be gone?
I'm super excited for the ward, but again, if they remove ward, then we will only utilize one set for PvE, and that will be like refreshing, like elemental aversion, and then just like the weapon perks, and then if you drink a potion, that will be the one set that you need for PvE. And that's it. For PvP, like resilient. Oh, by the way, I like the potion idea. I think the potion idea is great. It makes it simple enough. My other idea was like, if you want to remove ward from the game, just make every single PvE mob do 20% less damage. But the idea of just leaving the way it is, because nobody uses ward in the open world. People exclusively use ward just for the mutations and the end-game content, right? So in the open world, the mobs were going to feel very weak if you were to nerf them all by 20%. So just having the potion option, I think it's great. That's it. And it is very quickly, whenever you are, let's say, in Starstone, and you go from the ancient to lost, all you have to do is just pop the potion. And then that lost potion will last you until the next ancient part. And then it comes the ancient part, boop, you pop another potion, and you're good to go. You don't have to stop for anything. And for PvP, removing Resilient is also huge. Because right now, we can all agree, and you have said this a million times. If your gear doesn't have Resilient, and it doesn't have ward, it's a useless piece of armor because it's neither good for PvP nor PvE. So if it doesn't have one of these two perks,
Yeah.
it's bad. So by them removing these two mandatory perks, what they're doing is opening the gates for every single other item in the game to actually be used now, because people are now going to start looking into vigor, into invigorated. People are now going to start looking into using all the combination of defensive perks, and people will be like, well, Trick, people is going to have too much armor. I mean, we can all agree that the time to kill right now in New World, it's pretty quick, it's pretty fast. So if somebody wants to go for a more defensive approach, let them. If somebody wants to go for a more offensive approach, now people can actually go for refreshing, which is a thing that is forgotten for DPS. DPS doesn't use refreshing unless it's for mutations, but in PvP, DPS usually need to stick to their resilient, their weapon perks, and either elemental aversion or freedom. So there's no room for refreshing. Now you're actually giving DPS room for refreshing. So removing resilient and ward is probably the best possible thing that they could have done to just give more freedom to the player and make all of this unusable armor that we have had in the game for over a year actually be used in some of this occasion. And if they're introducing this new gear with this new perk and resilient and ward is not going to be there, that is going to be so much better, because now we really have build, like we can be so creative with this build without being forced to resilient and ward being. So I think it's a great change for the game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I see some people talking in a chat about like what's going to happen to the economy, like what's going to happen to these items. I think when they bring this in, my guess is they're going to do it with the Season 3 expansion. For those of you who don't know, Season 3, also the expansion, where it brings in mounts and the new weapon and the new zone and stuff. I think they're going to do like a big shakeup then. Like this, it makes sense to do it all at the same time. So I think like just a lot of items that we have in it right now, you're not gonna lose them, but you're kind of like phasing them out and you're bringing new stuff in. So the new stuff is what will make up the economy, and the old stuff, you kind of put it on the shelf and be like, that was the old time. That's my guess anyway. Maybe there'll be like some sort of token system where pieces of gear that had Ward or Bane on will be replaced in your inventory with a token, and then you can trade that in for something. Or like when they phased out tuning orbs way back in the day for dungeons, and instead you got a box of loot that was like equivalent. Maybe something like that. They could do that as well. I don't know what you think about that trick. Like what do they actually do with the gear that has resilient Ward Bane on if they are gonna phase those out?
If they're gonna phase us out, then it will be the perfect time for the Season 3 introduction. If they make a perk that, or like the new gear that is coming out already has some sort of like resilient built into it, and now you can actually put 3 perks, that'll liberate resilient. Why would you want a piece of armor that you need to have resilient on the perk, while you can have a piece of armor that already has resilient or like PvP damage reduction built into it, and you can have these 3 better perks? So, and this will come pretty much into the same parenthesis where like, oh, the gear is getting reset, because that's also a big, a big subject. Like the gear that we have right now will be obsolete, or that the gear reset. And I just want to let people know that, first of all, the gear that we have right now will not become obsolete, and there's not a reset happening, right? Because a reset will mean that you take all of the efforts that you have had until this point, throw it out the window, and start from zero. And that is not going to be it. You're still going to be utilizing the gear, and every single thing, every single item that you have until this point, you're going to continue to keep that item. And will the gear be obsolete? No, it won't be, because this gear is what is going to push you further to the next level for you to be able to acquire this new gear, right? So do you think that the wars that are happening the first time that Season 3 comes out is going to be naked? No, people are still going to use the same gear that we have right now for weeks, even maybe months. Maybe, we don't know how long it will take you to take the full set for you, of new biz. So all of the old gear that we have right now, we're going to use it throughout the entire journey until we finally have the brand new gear and we can finally say goodbye to the old gear. But that is normal in video games. That is normal in MMOs. And the example that I give my chat B is like, look, whenever Shuriken Fortification came out, every single body said goodbye to the old gear and craft a new Shuriken Fortification. Was that a gear reset? No, it wasn't. They just made a brand new piece of perk in the game. When they buff attunement from being a 2-second cooldown to a 1-second cooldown, everybody threw all their weapons away and everybody crafted weapons with attunement. Is that a gear reset? Absolutely not. That's just things shifting in the game. Balance and metas shift all the time, and people usually adapt to that. Does every time the meta changes is a gear reset? No. It's ridiculous that people are calling it a reset, and it's ridiculous that people are saying that the gear will be obsolete, because those two things are false. All right.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah, people, it's very spooky when you say it that way. It's like, it's not a reset. Yeah, it's just like, personally, I'm excited, dude. Having new things to like
Super
work towards,
excited.
it's gonna be good, man. I'm hyped to like unlock some new stuff.
Right now, B, I don't even play on the live
Yeah.
server. I've been playing
Well,
I've been playing the NWL because I have no gear to farm in the retail. I have absolutely nothing to do in the retail, so I'm having some good time PvP in the NWL, and I'm not missing out. If I had new gear, or at least I wanted to finish my gear, I would have been playing it, but there's absolutely nothing to pursue right now.
yeah, that's a good topic shift by the way here. NWL, New World League. What is this trick? What are you talking about? What is NWL? As somebody
Ooh.
who's more of a PvPer than me, what's the NWL? This
So
is a fairly new announcement.
yes. So the NWL, which stands for New World League, is a community event that was created by the community for the community, right? So essentially, the PvP or the war scene, right? The war community, they're tired of the way that you need to push territory to have fun. The wars are being stale for so long. We don't have cross server, so a lot of these players that did wars on a daily basis, they were just pretty much burned out. So they reach out AGS to see if there's a possibility that they could open a private server specifically for the PvP community, so they could have a centralized PvP server, which it's kind of like the PvP server that the community's been asking for. But before New World actually doing something like this, they created this private server to see how people will do in it, right? This is basically all a testing by AGS while the PvP community is having fun. Now, just because it's a testing, that doesn't mean that we're not going to take it serious, because we actually are creating tournaments, which these tournaments will be starting next week. And it's 9 companies, and every single one of the companies drafted 100 players from the PvP community if you apply for to participate in this. And so the PvP tournaments are going to start next week, and that will also branch out to not just the PvP tournament but also PvE tournaments. In any sort of tournament, really, it'll be ideally to just do in this server. Why? Because it will not be super populated. That means that the lag will be very little. And second of all, they give you all of the resources for you to craft the perfect gear that you want. So it's the closest that you can have of bringing your retail character to this server, so you can actually fight the enemy with the gear that you have. Or even better, you can create the gear that you dream to have, because they give you everything to craft it, and it's just go out there, craft all of your gear, and PvP. And for the future, whenever we want to do like PvE competitions,
Mm.
we can also do them here. So that is in a nutshell what the NWL is. New World League is a private server for people that want to, have some competitive uh, server.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. When I first heard about it, I was like, "Nah, dude, this is real. Like Amazon's actually giving like a private server over to the community." Like I know they did it for like the streamer server thing for Return to a Tournament or
Right.
whatever, but I was like, "Oh, no, there's no way this is." But yeah, it turns out it's real, which is cool. I'm glad to see them supporting it. I hopefully things go smooth. Like it sounds like a good idea in that everybody's going to be, there can't be a complaint about somebody being better geared than other, right? Everybody's going to have the best gear that they need, and it should just come down to the strategy, the tactics, and the skill. So I'm not going to be taking part myself. I don't know. I think the times that wars will take
Oh
part
yeah,
at, it's
yeah, yeah,
probably
yeah,
not going
yeah.
to be great for me. I think it's like based on North American time.
Yes.
But it's going to be like pretty hyped to watch. It's going to be fun to see like, the best sling it out. So be interesting to see how it plays out. And it also sets a precedent for like, Amazon supporting more community events. So maybe like in the future, getting everybody onto a different server to do other competitions as well. It could be cool.
Oh yeah, 100%.
What did want to ask Trick? You were just playing on it earlier, right? So is like Outpost Rush and stuff just like popping all the time on there, or like
Oh
because
yeah.
you were on the PTR and you were in Outpost Rush. I'm like, what? Dude?
Oh yeah, no, dude, it's popping two OPRs almost at the same time. Like right now, not as much, but once people get off of work, like in DNA side, like when it's around 5, 6 in the afternoon, we even get two OPRs going, and not only OPRs outside of wins where you have a lot of PvP there, but people are constantly going into the OPR out. And we even playing OPR different. We're not playing OPR to win because nobody cares about winning, right? Being worried about winning in retail. So what we're doing
Mm,
in this server is just having fun. Everybody clumps in the middle, and you have to remember
yeah.
most of these players are war loggers and they are war players. So all they know is about clumping life. So no backdoor, no Baron, and no broods, nothing. It's just everybody go there, fight. One team pushes one team to the start, the other team pushes them back. It hasn't actually been super one-sided. Every single OPR feels pretty good. Sometimes, obviously, you have the game that we dominate them, but that is just because of the matchmaking situation. One team might get a lot more healers than the other, but all in all, it's the best PvP that I've ever had in like probably the last year.
Mm. Do you have a take on if it has like a positive, negative, any impact on live servers? Because I've seen some people
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh, they're splitting
yes,
the player,
big
there's too
one,
much, blah blah blah.
huge.
Whoa. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, man, it's huge because if before people wanted to just queue to get like their gypsum orbs in either OPR or in arenas, they had to depend on the PvP players to be doing PvP activities for them to join them. So if a server that was like semi empty, I wouldn't say like for example Castle Steel right now, it wasn't in the best of stages because a lot of people left to Marama. Now a lot of the main Castle of Steel PvPers are in the NWL, and now the casual PvPers in Castle Steel might not be getting as many queues for OPRs, or other servers that were a little underpopulated also are suffering from this. I mean, pretty much the entire PvP community, just like 70% of it went to the NWL, and that is affecting the live server. But people don't care much, especially AGS is not caring much right now because they're very into this NWL, right? If this is a hit for the PvP community, they could implement this, and this is an example of what cross server OPR will look like whenever all of these PvPers queue for OPR, and cross server OPR is coming pretty close. So again, they're not too worried about that because if a dead server is not having queues now, in a week from now, they're going to have queues, right? And it's the end of the server. I mean, it's the end of the season. People are not like super into, playing New World Hardcore right now, like taking it super serious. So everybody's having fun, and as long as the
Mm.
PvP community is still engaged, it's a W for AGS.
Yeah, we should explain, by the way. So, cross server queuing, this is coming in season 2 again. If everything goes well, it'll be Thursday, 6th of July, When you queue up for Outpost Rush, you'll be put against people on the same region. So if you're in EU, you'll go against other people on EU. If you're in North America East, it'll be other. So some regions, I think like AP Southeast, they've only got one server, so they don't get to benefit from it, sadly.
Yeah.
But hopefully we're going to see a few more people come back in for season 2. Another change that they made to Outpost Rush, along with it being cross server, and I should also say this cross server queuing is going to extend eventually to 3v3 arena and dungeon finder, which I think is going to be great. However, they are leaving that until winter, which I think is kind of strange because I really think that you should try and get as many things to be cross-server queuing as possible before the expansion, because I think the expansion is like that's the hype, and that's hopefully when we're going to see like the biggest wave of people get re-exposed to New World again. So you really, I don't know, in my opinion, you want to get cross-server queuing in for that.
If you have
Outpost Rush.
Delay. Sorry.
You take a trick. No, you go.
No, you go.
Okay, all right. Outpost Rush, one other thing I wanted to say on Outpost Rush cross server, they also made some tweaks to Outpost Rush as well, right? Where the Baroness has got a wall over her. I saw you don't like collide with the things in the middle of the camps anymore, like in the forts. You can actually like go through it, like small changes like that. And then also the Demon Brute event, you like actually go there and like you interact with it now to get a brute rather than just somebody casually doing it off to the side. For me, the Outpost Rush changes don't really seem like they're that big. Have you got any takes on them, Trick? You think they're good, bad? You want to see more? Or how you feeling about the tweaks to OPR?
I mean, map-wise, I don't feel any difference. I think the map looks pretty much the same as it did before. There's definitely not big changes. So if there are some terrain changes, they're very little, very minuscule, because the trees, they still pretty much feel in the same location. The things that they have added, like you mentioned, is now this Brood event, which I'm actually very happy they added that, because the Brood side was a completely neglected part of OPR that you needed to spend like at least 10 minutes to finally summon that Brood. So that was completely neglected. At least they're spicing that up. The Wolf, now they give you the bear token. So if you go and you skin the Wolf, you immediately have a bear instead of having to spend 120 ASOF in buying the bear. And the other big changes that they did was for the Baron. They put the yellow doors outside of the Baron. The main problem with these yellow doors is that they are identical to your base doors, which you need to get close to them, press E for you to go in, or press E to go out. This is ridiculous, B. They should have made this door just walkable. You walk through them and they just block bullets. Because if you have somebody like an archer or like a mage outside of the gate, he could literally be like, nope, nobody's going in. I'm gonna put a blizzard there. I'm gonna start throwing fireballs, pillars of fire, meteor shower, and he's not gonna let anybody in. And the same thing for people letting people out. It's gonna be super catastrophic. Or if they don't have a transparent gate that they can not shoot but walk through it, then they should make it that you just press E and you go through the door. Having to hold E for that 1 second, that is gonna kill you so many times, and that's just gonna upset the player base in general. I know that they're trying to remove the archers and musketeers and possible mages were still in Baron, but the new solution that they added will actually cause more friction to the PvP in general. Right now, we haven't been having any issues because in the NWL, nobody's going for the Baron, like I just said, right? So nobody's actually experienced this. But whenever this goes live, and people want to go inside of the Baron and they see the Baron is at 10% and they want to make a play and they're not an archer, they're like a melee guy, and literally this guy is now preventing them from playing. They put this guy here to stop archers and musketeer, and instead it's affecting melee players. So you see the issue that I have with it. This is not just only going to affect range, but it's also going to affect melees. And it's creating an unnecessary barrier in a PvP mode that should be as smooth as possible.
Yeah, I think it's some people saying like make a Z-shaped corridor, or just have a wall that like you can walk through, but it blocks projectiles. We know that exists because they have like the effect. It used to be an old life staff ability where you put like a dome shield over you and it like protects you so projectiles don't come in. I think they also kind of have it in Starstone Barrows when you get the purple goo thing. You can walk through it, but it actually does block projectiles. So they have it in the code to like implement it into the game.
Oh yeah, like a Z gate.
Yeah, it's like when you take damage while you're interacting. Then when you take damage while you're interacting, it interrupts you, right? So you have to keep holding down the interact key over and over again. But every time you take damage, it's just resetting you. So
yeah, or you can just change the way you go in, make it like a corridor or
musket.
something.
Dude, god damn it! I don't need more muskets.
Um, all right, dude. They also made what else do we got? I want to like I've got to disappear to the sandworm raid, so I'm gonna try and do
Oh,
the
the
sandworm again
sandworm
because they
raid.
like improved the difficulty. Yeah, I'm gonna try it again because they made it like a little bit more challenging apparently. So I wanted to see what it's like before it comes to life to see if it's any trickier. Because I guess, man, I mean, we could briefly talk about that actually, because I think that's happened since we last did a podcast.
Yeah.
Sandworm trick is, as they said, it's gonna be one of the hottest boss fights in the game. There's only gonna be like Dave famously said there'd probably be about 100 people that would do it in the first week, and on the PTR we've already seen more than 100 people do it. I think. What's your take on that trick? You've tried the sandworm yourself, right? What do you think about the fight?
Oh, dude, I loved it. I mean, I was super excited. It's not like the best fight that we have ever experienced, especially myself, because I've been playing MMOs for a very long time. So I've done like WoW rating in a more, I play other MMOs that have a very intricate rating system with big mechanics and stuff. Destiny 2, for example. But just it's a big jump for ATS, right? Going from a lot of the simple mechanics, and we have pretty much the same feeling with the Empyrean Forge. When the Empyrean Forge came out, and we see that these bosses they have some cool ass mechanics, they're like, oh man, they can actually pull this off. So I was super excited for the Sandworm raid, especially that he has a lot more mechanics that I expected him to have. The only problem that we experienced, both of us, is that yes, the mechanics were too easy pretty much the entire fight. If you're an archer, you have like a free ride all the you're just back there pumping damage the whole fight. It doesn't make the players move enough, and that is the main problem that I have. You basically either down or up, and there's no really
Hmm.
that many phases per se where he has different mechanics at the beginning and then different mechanics in the middle and then different mechanics at the end. No, it's pretty much the same mechanics throughout the entire fight. So once you learn them, you don't have to pretty much do anything. They did, added more bombs. They reduced the amount of time it takes them to explode. Now one person cannot take like 3 or 4 by himself, and they just making it more mechanically advanced. That is all obviously the way to go. I'm super excited, and this is just the first raid. Imagine when the second and third raid comes out. It's gonna be insane, man. I'm
Yeah.
super high hopes for it.
Yeah, I think you think for my take on it is I think compared to every other boss fight in New World so far, it's probably one of the best. It's the coolest. Also, he sounds like a dinosaur, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You think about the first dungeons that we got in the game, Lazarus and Genesis. Like these days, they're like just farm mode, kind of easy peasy. I mean, sometimes Genesis throws you a curveball with the first boss, but they're pretty easy. And then dungeons got so much better over time. Like Empyrean Forge is cool. Ennead's really awesome. So this is the first raid, and compared to other content in New World, I think it is cool. It is going to be challenging. You do kind of almost need a shot caller, but compared to other MMOs, they're still, compared to World of Warcraft raids, they're still behind the curve by quite a bit. But I think they'll get there. I think they're going to continue to get there. It is obviously one of the big signature pieces of content for season two. But yeah, I think if they, and especially, I think Scott said that they want to. This is like a raid boss, so it's not a full raid in the sense
Right.
like some other raids you have multiple bosses and lots of waves of trash in between. It's just one boss. But maybe we get that some point in the future, and I am like very hyped for that to see what that looks like in New World.
Oh, 100%. And he said it, yeah, we'll probably move to the more traditional rating system where you have the trash, then the big boss, then another trash. And that's what I was expecting since we had like a bunch of different type of gear that if they ever made a raid, it's going to have like one wing which is going to be like corrupted, and then the other wing is going to be lost, and then the other wing you need to put on acid protection. So that's what I was expecting with them adding all of these different types of gear, but it looks like they're not going that direction. Now, if the raid has different elements and stuff to it, all you gotta do is pop a potion and we just keep on moving. Which they can still do that. They can have Angry Earth, Corruption, and Loss all in one raid, and that will be insane.
Yeah. Uh, I want a quick question for you, Trick, because I was wondering if you think this is an issue or anybody else thinks this is an issue. The Sandworm raid, one of the rewards you get if you do kill the Sandworm is you get a new heart rune. You get the heart rune of the Devourer, which is basically like summons a Sandworm at the ground and it bites you. And I think it can either knock you back or pull you in or knock you down. I'm wondering, first of all, maybe it has a bit of PvP utility. have a big impact on PvP or PvE? And also, do you think the fact that if it is a heart rune that is good for PvP, but you can only get it by doing PvE, do you think that's a problem or not, Trick? Like, what do you reckon? And the same
Um,
with other heart runes, I guess.
yeah. I mean, pretty much every single one of the hard rooms right now are bound to PVE. The good thing about it is that at least the other hard runes are not bound behind a big encounter like this one, because this one is not just like a regular dungeon that you can do.
Mm.
You know, if you want any of the other hard runes, you can go even and do it yourself. Some of these dungeons you can do it yourself. At least the, you know, if you want the storm form, you just join a normal Lazarus and you do it in like, you know, 10-15 minutes, you're done. But for the raid, it actually takes preparation. It takes a lot of time. Now, to answer the other question that you had, how much of an impact it's going to have in PvP? Absolutely none. It's as it stands right now, it's probably the weakest PvP hard rune, right next to Dark Descent. The first thing that it doesn't do enough damage. The other thing is, if you wanted to do damage, then it loses the knockback. If you wanted to do the knockback, then it loses damage, right? So it's the trade-off. But the thing is, the animation is too long, the damage is not high enough, and if people have grid, they will just roll through it, you know, so they won't care about it. But they did mention it, I think it was in the Balance of Power video, that they will actually be increasing the damage and they will be increasing the animation speed up. So they're making it a lot smoother. So as it stands right now, the old Sandworm hard rune that I tried at the beginning, you know, when they first came out, it's a bad hard rune, not usable in PvP or PvE. The new one, I will need to try it to see how smooth it feels. I think I can try it in the NWO right now. But for PvP, it's not gonna be that impactful at all, because if it is for damage, you have better damaging hard runes, and that you don't even need to, you know, to do an animation, right? The detonate or the cannon blast is a lot safer, a lot quicker, you know, and leaves a big burn on the enemy. And then Stormform is a better survivability. And if you want a CC, the vines is instant. It doesn't have an animation, and yeah. I just feel like it's an underwhelming ability. And I'm actually glad you brought it up, because probably after they realized that the Sandworm a hard room was not like super interesting, they were like, whoa, hold on, we're gonna stop making hard rooms so often, and instead we're just gonna save them like for every three, you know, every 6 months, you know. Instead of giving you one every 3 months, we're gonna hold it back and we're gonna give you one every 6 months, which is gonna be better. And I love that. I love that, because we were getting oversaturated with all of these hard runes that almost all of them are like useless in some sort of scenario. Because if you're gonna use the storm form, everybody uses stalwarts. If you're gonna use detonate, everybody uses brutal. So right now there are so many hard runes, but people only use like 3 of them, really. So they need to stop making quantity and start making quality.
Yeah, I agree. I think they realized that with like weapons, or at least that seems to be what they're saying anyway. Because as far as we tell, we're only getting one weapon this year with the season 3. So yeah, I think it's like you don't want to like have like tons of different heart runes, but they're all kind of crap. It'd be better to have a smaller amount that like get used rather than a big amount that don't really do too much. Before we wrap this up, Mr. Trick, is there anything you want to plug or anything you want to mention for season 2? Are you thinking you got New World Champ going for New World League? Is there going to be any interaction with those two things there? You looking at anything, any builds for season 2 in particular? Or
oh, melee. Season 2 is going to be very, very melee based. If you guys are into the PvP meta of the game, welcome to New World melee meta. All right, this is what it's all going to be: melees. The mages are going to be a dying breed once again. The changes that they did to Incinerate were horribles, reducing the damage of Incinerate even further to 125. That was catastrophic, and giving it a stagger that is just embarrassing, because now by you giving stagger to Incinerate and reducing the damage, you actually made it an even worse ability than what it was before. Because who the hell is going to use a stagger whenever the enemy is so close to you? You have such a long animation. It's such an easy ability to dodge. And the other thing that AGS doesn't take in consideration is that we have way too many staggers in the game already. We don't need more staggers. If you want to give something to the fire staff, give it some sort of utility. Because people don't realize the best CC in the game is knockdowns, right? Like the flattening from leg sweep or wrecking ball, right? That is the best one because you can get melted on the floor. Staggers wake people up immediately from knockdown. So using an incinerate in the middle of a clump is actually not doing anything good. Plus the damage is so ridiculously low. And for PvE, the same thing. If one of your allies uses leg sweep and you use incinerate, you're waking all of these enemies up. So that was a horrible change. So less fire staff with the nerf of pillar of fire and the nerf of incinerate again. And the nerf to bows, you're gonna see a little bit less bows, but bow will still be very impactful. But the majority of the player base will go back to melee and focus itself a lot in melee. Almost every single melee weapon got a buff of like 15 to 30%. And it's crazy. The Warhammer is doing insane damage. Spear, Sword and Shield got a little bit damage nerf, but still is super strong and powerful. The Greysword got a 4% damage nerf, but give me a break. Like, what is that gonna do? Fire Stab gets nerfed, but like, look at Incinerate. He went from doing 260% weapon damage to 125. And what did they give it? A stagger. Like, that is just... So yes, melees rejoice. The healers are going to have a very rough time because these melees are doing insane amount of damage right now. And now with the iteration to the range block, mages are going to be doing absolutely nothing. If you're getting attacked by mages, all you got to do is turn around, hold that block on top of a sacred ground, and they will do minus 70% damage to you. So melees got an insane buff. Mages got insane nerf. And bows, they just got pretty much a little balance because we all can agree that bows were a little overtuned.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I think it's going to be the same for PvE as well, by the way. I don't think we're going to see any more mages really getting much use in M10. I think in the Sandworm raid as well, there's a bit of a... It's a bit scuffed because I think the lights where you stand as like ranged, you can't use your abilities because it's too far away. So, and also the Sandworm is a beast, and beasts are weak to thrust damage, which is the bow and the musket. So if you're going to use ranged weapons, you probably use bow and musket. So yeah, sorry mages, looks like you're losing out because melee is going to be the king of M10 still. And in the Sandworm raid, it's probably going to be bow or maybe musket. Melee.
Yeah. It's like they don't want mages to participate in anything, bro.
Right. Right, Trick. I'm probably going to go get ready to fight the Sandworm, man. But it's been a fantastic conversation. Sorry, it's a bit of a short one today, guys. Hopefully, we'll get a new one after Season 2 comes out. Fingers crossed there's no delays. Thank you, Trick, for the conversation as always, man. It would be good to talk for longer, but I'm bad, dude, with my time management. So
no, you're gonna get to the Sandworm raid. By the way, can I join you in the Sandworm? I'm coming. I go.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it, dude. Let's go. Let's get on there. Let's go fight the Sandworm, see what it's like.
Or you're gonna do it off.
I'm just gonna record. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna record. Yeah.
All right, let's go. Do you have a team ready to go or something?
I'm gonna. Gaming Gothic is like organizing it. Yeah, Gothic's organizing it. He's gonna do the shot calling. So yes. I'll send you a link to his Discord if you don't already have it.
I have it.
Yeah, right. I'm just gonna eat a sandwich real quick and set up my stuff and end this recording here. So I'll see you in the Sandworm raid, Trick, and catch you later, man. Thank you very much for the talk. And by the way, people listening, like, subscribe, whatever the podcast thing is, leave a comment, do all the good stuff. Thank you, friends. We'll catch you all the next episode of Bag of Tricks.
Bye bye.